All right.
All right, so that takes us into where we think of the whole Bloodline title unification storyline and where that's going to go.
Well, interestingly enough, it's been reported on multi-sites that The Rock has cleared his whole schedule around the whole next WrestleMania season.
Which could possibly mean we get Rock versus Reigns.
Well, I would suggest that's probably because they've been trying for it for 2 years.
Yeah.
But apparently he's got a complete and utter clear schedule all around it. No movies, no commitments, no nothing. So he could certainly get back into training. He could then appear. He might do a few spots. He might even do the odd match. I don't think he'd do a match. I think they'd just go straight into Mania. Which means that Roman will have to hold the title for another, 10 months or thereabouts.
Yeah.
Which is fine, I suppose. There's a couple of ways they could go. They could either take the title off Reigns at some point and then Reigns wins it back and then The Rock comes or something like that, or whether they just let Reigns go all the way through. I also have a very, very strong suspicion that if Reigns loses the belt, he'll lose it to Randy Orton, because I think that's the way that might be going.
Yeah.
Although Riddle's making... I don't see Riddle as being a world champion yet. I like him. I actually do like him. I think he's all right. I think he's a good worker. He's okay. He's been well and truly mentored by Randy.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't see him as a world champion.
I mean, as somebody to finish that part of the storyline with the Bloodline and RK Bro, with that part of the storyline, somebody to finish that off while Randy is currently recovering.
Yes.
Then I can see it working, but I don't see Riddle picking up the title anytime soon. Unless
Riddle picks it up, and then Randy comes back at some time and goes heel Randy, and he's all over his best friend, and then he goes heel on him and challenges for the belt. Could be a big heel turn with Randy Orton turning on Riddle,
which was a big rumor as they were setting up for the tag title, which was a big rumor as they were setting up for the tag title unification match.
Was it really? I didn't hear that.
It was. They were thinking that Orton would be the one to cost them the unification by turning on Riddle or walking out on him and having the Usos.
It wouldn't make sense. What you really want to do is have Riddle be the one who got pinned. Orton then comes back, but Riddle's got the belt, and Orton's upset that they lost because it was Riddle, and that's the reason he's turned on him. Maybe goes for the belt, and then they go from there or something. Look, it could go 3 or 4 different ways, or they might just keep the title on Reigns, knowing that The Rock's going to be free. But The Rock will definitely be at the next WrestleMania. I'm 99.99% certain.
Oh, I agree. Like, if his wife...
He's cleared his entire schedule around that point.
Yeah.
He's not doing that for nothing. So and they've been trying for 2 years or more to get it happening.
And also to that specific time frame too. Yeah. It wasn't just a random period. It was a specific point.
Yeah, so I think you'll see something there. The Usos, well, given they've just won the unification, I think they'll probably hold them till WrestleMania. Now, whether that's all tied up in a winner-takes-all, like The Rock and, say, I don't know, The Rock and 2 people against, the Bloodline, and winner-takes-all, so if Rock and his 2 partners won, they get all of the gold. Or something. Yeah. I mean, look, it could be anything. You don't know with WWE, but I think you could almost put money on the fact that The Rock will be there. The most likely scenario will be versus Reigns. Usos, well, they might look. It might be a WrestleMania night where I doubt they put the belt on The Rock, but
yeah, I doubt that too.
Yeah, so I don't know how you book that. I mean, you can still book a bloody good match with an outcome that makes them both look fantastic. There's no problem with that because neither are going to lose face. But the Usos, I don't know. I mean, there are some good tag teams in the men's division, but again, is there anything super outstanding at the moment? Probably not, unless I'm missing someone. I mean, they've sent the Viking Raiders or whatever down to NXT. They're not doing anything with Ziggler and Rude. I mean, that Robert Roode, what a complete and utter waste of talent not getting used.
Apparently, he's been doing a house show.
Yeah, but what a waste. You got a former world champion and a good worker, great body, the whole bit. Yeah, him and Ziggler would be a good team. But, I mean, I know they sort of tried it. You've got those ones that I don't like, the, show me the smoke. What are they called?
The Street Profits.
Yeah, I reckon they need to break them up and I don't care what they do with Montez Ford. I mean, sure, he's like his wife. Extremely athletic and blah, blah, blah. I can see why they're so suited as a married couple.
Yeah.
But, I'm not a fan. Dawkins, I'd like to see them put him in proper wrestling gear.
Yeah.
He's got the size, he's got the height, he's got the moves, he's got the experience. He could have a brilliant singles run. Dress him up as a proper looking wrestler instead of these stupid basketball shorts and all that crap. Make him look like he could be another Ernie Ladd.
Very possibly.
He could. I think he's terribly underutilized and not being used properly.
That's why I won't lie to you here. When I first saw the Street Profits, I went, I don't mind them. It was something different.
Yeah.
And then as the years gone by, I'm like, all right, that's enough.
A bit like the New Day. I mean, they're good in that, but okay, we're over it.
I think it's definitely time. Well, I mean, they had the thing with Big E, but then they worked all that back around. So him coming back to New Day, I think it's probably time to maybe let the New Day I can't say split because it's split about 2 times now, but have both. Yeah,
I think New Day's had its day.
Yeah.
Street Profits, look, they're good, but I don't know. I don't get excited. Put it this way, I wouldn't buy a ticket to go and see them.
Oh, no, me neither.
There's others I would, but I mean, Dawkins as a wrestler in a singles run, I'd buy a ticket to go and see.
Oh, hell yeah.
I think he could really, really do something. Montez Ford, well, I don't know. Maybe they do a gimmick with him and his wife and mix tags and just get them out of our faces. I'm not a fan of either. I don't for 1 second take anything away from their absolutely brilliant athletic ability. They're super, super athletes. But it's one thing to be a super, super athlete. It's another thing to be a charismatic wrestler.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm not. I know I'm sort of having to dig at both of them, but I'm not having to dig at their abilities or at their physical abilities and all of that. I'm just not a fan, but that's one man's opinion. That's all that is. It's like a butthole. We've all got one.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, but see, again, I mean, who really would be a serious challenger for the Usos? Well, at the moment, it's the Street Profits. I don't know about what's his name? I don't know what is wrong with my memory today. Honestly, I mustn't have taken my tablets. The big guy, the really big one, he looks like a tank. Oh, Jesus. Isn't this terrible? We're broadcasting this too, and I'm going blank all the time. The tree trunk bloke, the big guy.
Oh.
And he's with Gable.
Oh, Otis.
Yes, Otis and Gable. Now, I don't know. I mean, again, are they champions? I mean, they were, but they were basically transitional.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I think what they need to do with Otis is turn him into a Bulldog Brower type of worker.
Yeah.
He would be a perfect Bulldog Brower type. And could really do some damage.
Oh, yeah.
And have Gable sort of managing him, but still working. I mean, Gable's a brilliant worker. He's small, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, Rey Mysterio's smaller.
Yeah.
So, but even the Mysterios, I mean, you couldn't really do anything with them if you're talking tag champs.
They're currently tied in with that, what's his name?
Vermeer or what's his name?
Veer Mahan, yeah.
Veer Mahan, so, so I don't know. But, the whole tag situation, very interesting. But I know we got off topic a little bit, but we were sort of, with the whole bloodline. Naomi could certainly come into it. And then they could have a tag team, and then Roman. So that sort of gives you like a faction, a bit like what Edge is doing now, because they've got Rhea Ripley and they've got Damian Priest, and they're talking about who else could come in, and so you might end up either someone as a partner for Priest or an actual tag team come in. And then you got Rhea Ripley, and you might have, the what do they call themselves? The Judgment.
The Judgment Day.
Yeah, whatever, against the Bloodline.
Oh, That's
good. So you'd have sort of Rhea Ripley against Naomi. You might have Edge and Roman, and then you might have Priest and someone against the Usos.
This is going to go slightly off topic, but what do you think about Rhea Ripley joining with Edge?
Not bad. I mean, they're going to do something with her. I think she's good, and I think she could be the next big thing in the women's division. She's a big girl, as in, big, tall, strong, very, very strong. She sort of got that, what would you call that, gothic punk look sort of thing.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. I think that's good. I like her, and not because she's an Aussie girl, one of ours, but I think it's good.
I do like the idea of her being heel. I feel the way that she dresses is more of a heelish type character.
It's sort of got a little bit of Road Warriors about it.
Yeah, it's more of a heelish character. I just don't know, and I might be one of the very small, probably 0.00001% of wrestling fans who don't think she needs to be with Edge.
Well, I think it's a good learning tree and to hover around there, although, their immediate opposition is Liv Morgan and Finn Balor and
Styles.
So, I mean, that's not a bad little faction for now, but they could build towards something with, against the Bloodline there. I mean, at some point, the thing with Styles and Balor has to finish. So maybe, heading towards WrestleMania or something, although The Rock will be around. But, I think, look, they've got a few options. There's a few things they could do. The Hurt Business,
it's not really there.
Yeah, no, I think they've given that away. So that'll be interesting to sort of see. I think MVP with Omos is good.
Yeah,
but I can't see them sort of having anything to do against the Bloodline.
Oh, no. I think I'll just be focusing on Ashley for a bit.
So there's probably not a lot of options. I mean, really, when you talk about the WWE, the amount of talent they got, we're really struggling to come up with tag team champions for the women. We're really struggling to come up with good contenders for the men's tag.
Yeah.
It's quite sad that so much talent was let go And granted, a lot of them were just on the WWE books, so AEW couldn't sign them. I understand that.
Yeah.
But some of the talent they let go, would be very handy at the minute.
Yeah, well, but as it's been reported, it's all been due to budget cuts. So
budget cuts, but they're making more money than they've ever made.
That's what I find hilarious. Like,
which again goes back to setting the company up for sale.
Yeah.
If you're making more money than you've ever made and the company's running as lean as possible,
yeah,
that is when you sell. I've been there. I've done that. Not in wrestling, but in business.
Yeah.
You run it super lean, making a squillion sort of thing. Not that I've made a squillion, but and then you see it happen, and that's when acquisitions and mergers or takeovers.
Yeah.
As I said to you, if tomorrow came out that they'd sold or merged or did something, wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
What do you think, like, I'm going to stay on the whole people leaving and going other places. What do you think of the run that Cardona's currently been on?
Not really doing a lot, is he?
I mean, yeah.
He's on TV, so you'd say, okay, he's successful. He's on. He's with Gable. They're sort of in the picture. Not exactly setting the world on fire, is he?
Yeah, with Matt Cardona, I honestly feel that, and I might be, again, probably the 0.001% here, but I think that once Matt Cardona or Zack Ryder left the WWE, I think that was what he needed. If that makes sense.
Is what who needed, sorry?
Zack Ryder is what Zack Ryder needed.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what's he won? Something 4 world championships or something?
Yeah, literally everywhere he's gone, he's won.
Yeah. Well, he'd been with WWE for years.
And wasn't even being used.
Yeah. I think it all keeps coming back to their bookers and their creative talent. They're not wrestling people. They don't understand good wrestlers. They don't understand what goes over. And anytime they do stumble upon something good, they screw it up. They're just a rudderless ship at the moment, and they're surviving on just this massive engine that keeps turning and churning, and merchandise and the whole brand. Oh, WWE's coming to town, and hey, we're going to Wales in the UK, and we're going to do our first major pay-per-view from there. And there's a lot of that, but they're not 5% of what they used to be.
Yeah, that's very true.
Even those of us in the business were glued because you wanted to see what they were going to do. And I've said this a million times. Who's the next Austin? Who's the next Rock? Who's the next Stone Cold? Who's the next Undertaker? Who's the next Bret Hart? There's nobody there. Who's the next Jake the Snake or Randy Savage? There's a million. You can say, they were once in the era, but there was a lot of them all at once in that era.
Yeah.
They let them become a character. They let them, they marketed them and they promoted the character. Now they're just promoting WWE. And everyone wrestles the same. It's all just high spots. And people listening, they're going to say, you old fogey, go back to the cave you came out of and all this crap. But can you honestly say you were super entertained watching botch after botch after botch because all they're trying to outdo each other with high spot after high spot after high spot? I watched NXT a couple of days ago.
Right.
And I know it's developmental and blah, blah, blah. The botches, non-stop. And then one of them going over the top rope, to do moonsault onto the bloke outside, missed him by a bloody mile. Credibility. Yeah. There's no credibility. People are paying money to see 2 supposed prize fighters going at it. And it's like a bloody pantomime in a school hall, some of it.
Yeah,
because the only way you can get over now is to do this massive high spot where you probably break your neck or your back or something. It's just they've lost the plot. They've absolutely lost, and they're all robots.
Yeah,
I went to a local show. Oh, now with COVID, you sort of lose track of time. Maybe it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I don't want to name the show or the promotion or anything, but they had about 7 or 8 matches on the card.
Right.
All good-looking sort of workers, most of them look the part. There's a couple that sort of look like they were 14-year-old school kids who just come out of their school uniform, and you look and think, well, I'm paying money to see someone like that wrestle. But my criticism of the person I was sitting with, and they were a non-wrestling person too, by the way.
Yep.
Who I took to show them some local wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
And their comment to me was, and it was a female, so she liked a lot of the blokes.
Oh,
she thought they were very good and they could wrestle her anytime was her comment. So I knew then I'd struck out for the evening. But anyway, but she said to me the one thing about it, every match was the same. And she was right. They all wrestled the same match, basically. You had 8 matches, or obviously all different participants, but it was basically the same match, the same script. Just high spot, no selling, sus finish. Yeah.
It was just like one of the shows I went with Manson and my mum. We were sitting in a row behind this group of ladies, and they were like saying to each other, "Who's the bad guy? Who's the good guy?"
Yeah.
It was just like, I think Manson's told you the story before.
Yeah.
And it's just like you don't know.
Nah. And it shouldn't be that difficult. It should not be that difficult. The bad guy should be instantly obvious. Instantly obvious when they come out.
And they don't have to do anything elaborate to make him out to be the bad guy.
I mean, I had one of the guys I used to promote back in the day, Mad Dog Spence.
Yeah.
You had absolutely no doubt in your mind the minute he came out from the curtain, he was the heel. He's got a collar around his neck. He's being led by his manager. He's got this great big bloody bone from the butchers, and he's trying to attack people, and he's going and he's scaring kids and old women, and and then come in and bite my microphone cord. And back in those days when I used to wear a white jacket, he rubbed this bloody bone all over my white jacket, and it was all full of bloody blood and shit and crap, and I had to soak that jacket for a week to get rid of all the, and stuff like that. But you instantly knew who he was.
Yeah.
So the minute then when the opponent comes out, the crowd's going berserk and cheering for them straight away because they know, well, he's obviously the good guy coming out. Yeah, irrespective of whether the guy was any good or not, or, or was a big face or whatever, it was irrespective. Because one sets up the other. You set each other up. It's not hard. But no one will listen. Our generation, we're told, you're stuck in the 70s and 80s. Piss off. It's all us kids now going to do it. Fair enough, do it, but do something worth watching. Do something believable. Do something that would put bums on seats.
Yeah.
Entertain. That's what you're there for. They're all too scared of, I want to go over. My friends in the crowd, I need to go over. Well, that's not how. You try that back in the days of Festival Hall, they would have literally broken both your legs and thrown you outside the back door.
Cheers.
And they would. There's one guy, and I'm not mentioning names or anything, but he went to a promotion and, da-da-da-da-da. Both his legs were broken and he was put on a plane straight back to Australia.
Cheers.
Yep. And it's a well-known story inside. But, you just... Now, I'm not suggesting for 1 second you do anything like that. Obviously not. But you have to understand the psychology. How many times did Mario Milano lose? He lost probably more than he won.
Yeah.
But there was always a controversial finish. There was always interference. You can still lose without looking like, a squash match or anything like that. But it builds the stories. It builds the character. It builds, and that's, WWE don't do it. And I haven't seen too many promotions who do that.
That's the one thing that's kind of, sorry to interrupt you, that's the one thing that's kind of killed it, is that with the WWE in particular, they've got monthly pay-per-view, so it's simply storyline starts here, storyline ends there.
Or sometimes there's a bit of carryover, but
very rarely though.
There's no decent feuds. There's no
like, I gotta say, the Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins feud has been pretty good.
I must say, yes, I've thoroughly enjoyed that. But see, Cody's old school. Dad and his brother. I've thoroughly enjoyed his work. I think he comes out and he looks the part when he's dressed up in the suits. His ring gear looks good. He's got credibility. He's a very good talker on the mic, cuts a good promo, and can back it up in the ring. And as much as Seth Rollins annoys the crap out of me, he's good. He's very good. But that's the whole idea.
Yeah.
So a lot of people could learn a lot from those two blokes. Absolutely could learn heaps from them.
And the people who've listened to our podcast, and you can attest to this too, that match they had at Mania was probably was the highest I've ever marked a match. Yeah,
true. Yeah. No, that was and they got Hell in the Cell coming up shortly, which we're going to preview a couple of matches because we're almost down to time.
Yes.
I think that'll be a bit of a classic, a bit like that match. Now, which pay-per-view was it just recently when Edge opened the pay-per-view with was it AJ or no? Edge opened the pay-per-view and it was the best match of the night, and the rest of the card we said was average.
Oh, a Saudi show.
Oh, was that what it was?
Yeah, it was one of the Saudi shows.
Yeah, and they opened with that, and the rest of the card couldn't match it.
Nah.
It couldn't. It was horrible because I think they brought out the girls straight after, didn't they?
I think it was something like that, yeah. Yeah,
I've got it here in my little book, which if I go back far enough, I'm sure I'll find the bloke. Oh, here we go. It was actually Seth frickin', you wouldn't believe it, the first page I opened, and it was the page I wanted. On the 22nd of October, Seth frickin' Rollins versus the Rated R superstar Edge. Opening match.
Which was a Hell in a Cell.
Which was actually, yes, very good, which coincidentally we're going to talk about, was Hell in a Cell. And then they went into, Mustafa Ali versus Mansoor.
Oh, yeah.
And then they had RK Bro versus Styles and Omos. And then there was the Queen of the Ring final, which was Zelina Vega versus Doudrop, which was a horrible
that wasn't a good match.
And then Bobby Lashley and Goldberg, which was another crappy match.
It looks a Goldberg match.
And then Finn Balor and Xavier Woods for King of the Ring.
Yeah.
And then we had McIntyre and Big E.
And then the women's freeway, and then...
Yes, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, and Bianca Belair. Oh, and then we went to Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wouldn't believe it. The one page of the minute... See, that was meant to be. I was supposed to find that information because the page I opened was actually the page we wanted. Only I could pick me Tatslotto numbers like that.
Oh, yeah.
Was like that.
Oh, yeah.
Was like that.